Guys, this is a touchy subject, all right? I fucking hate school. I can't stand it. It's one of my least favorite things in life. And a lot of you sit there going, Mark, you had a bad experience. You're not a smart guy. You're a comedian. No wonder you didn't like school. Of course, this whole thing's so stereotypical. No. It's because now that I'm a father and I'm about to put my child into school, daycare. You've already heard me bitch about fucking daycare. I see what school has done to people and how it's ruined lives. And one bad teacher can fuck up the mentality, the confidence from just for one kid and ruin their entire trajectory. I've seen kids come into school from elementary school. This is a true story. There was this one kid from another elementary school, varsity fucking athlete. Like he had the, projections to be an incredible soccer player. Everyone was like, man, when we get to high school, we're going to be finally playing with this guy. He's unbelievable. We're going to win cups. He's going to be professional. He's going to play in Europe. All this crazy shit. High school fucking destroyed this kid. By grade 10, I have no idea if he finished high school. Ruined him. Couple bad teachers, couple shitty friends and influences, and you're done. I see people today who have had one bad experience playing basketball. And they're done. They can now still not fucking play with a referee in sight. One bad experience, they cave. A ref shows up, they're like all of a sudden playing the worst basketball in their life. They don't have the confidence no more. School destroys people. It doesn't foster creativity and free thinking individuals to go out there and get what you want and go for what you're trying to do and even help you figure out what you're actually good at, what you're not good at, your interests are, and guide you properly. And I feel like it should be a 1v1 situation. I know that's probably nearly impossible. Rather than, 1v30, hey, learn about where Canada is on the map. Yeah, because that fucking matters. It's absolutely stupid. This podcast is brought to you by OneBone. Go to onebone.com/I'm done and type in the code FT-I'm done. Get yourself a nice OneBone tote with your first shirt for free on me. 100% off. I love it. As you can see, this is my favorite fall outfit here. I've got their nice quilted bomber, my personal favorite. I've worn this on stage many times. And their nice wool fleece undershirt. It's not an undershirt. It's a long sleeve shirt. It's very nice. It's very like, what do you call it? Like pumpkin patch. I feel like this is what I would wear with the family to go apple picking and shit. And then wear this jacket out to the club and get bitches. I don't do that. I wish I did though. You know what I mean? Living the high life, go back out there. If I can, so stupid. Anyways, I don't know. I'm playing with this thought in my head on what to do with my child. When I went on these daycare trips, and I've gone to these schools, my wife's a teacher, and I go back into a school. Whenever I go back into the building, my blood pressure rises. I get anxiety. I get annoyed. I get pissed off. And that probably is a lot of deep-seated bullshit on why I hated school. But we got to understand why that's the case, right? I'm someone who went through school with my dad choosing my courses on Christmas break. Like, you know what I mean? For the next year. Like, my dad would be like, the deadline's tomorrow. And I go to school and they're like, all right, Mark, you're doing physics homeroom. Physics? What the fuck? My dad's like, you're going to work for NASA. And I'm like, work for NASA? That's the goal here? He's like, buddy, you got to do something. Like, you're killing me, But my father, very academic-minded individual, and he loves school. He thinks school's the best. He wears his Waterloo jacket as if this guy's fucking Wolverine. He feels like a tank in it, you know what I mean? I wasn't like that, I never really found my place in school in terms of the academics. I always felt like I was there for the camaraderie and the relationships. And you know what? I'm going to say this. I think that the best thing that school does for anybody, the only benefits, is networking, building relationships, and fucking time management. Like, if you want to go to a place that's going to teach you how to be at a certain place at a certain time, and then in an hour go to another place at another time, and then switch your brain from learning this and doing this, jobs are like that. You notice the trend there? you notice that when you go to school and you're like, oh, it's history from 8 to 10, and then walk over here and now it's fucking geography from 10 to 11, whatever. That's how work is. You got a meeting about this project over here and you got to think like this, and then you got to switch your brain over to this at this time. It's all about creating these perfect little employees. And the only reason, a lot of you are like, Mark, you're just regurgitating Gary Vee fucking shit. Bro, I lived it. I was there. You know what I mean? Like they just make you become something that you don't want to be. They don't teach you anything. And the way I know that is because it's outdated. Now I'm an adult. Everything that I learned in school, the only thing that I use from high school is my data management math course. Percentages, fucking probabilities for gambling. Like that's it. Like I don't even gamble, but like, you know, I remember certain things. I more so remember, you know, philosophies and ideologies and like, you know, things like that from like a good teacher, because one good teacher can really keep you in the game. You know what I mean? Can keep you being like, okay, I'm learning something, and it's more about life than it is so much about the subject that you're learning. You know what I mean? I feel like there's a real big gap. Oh, that's what I was talking about with like it being outdated, the curriculum. As an adult now, after gone through school, I don't know how to file my taxes. I don't know. I to this day, I still have my fucking dad do my taxes. Like, and every year in April, we fight like crazy. He's like, I fucking tell you every fucking year how to do this shit. Like you write it off and you need expenses and you need profits and you got to deduct it. And I'm like, buddy, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, open up Excel and log everything you've ever spent and then put another sheet for everything you've made and then put everything that your like monthly expenses are. And there's some things that like the government will give you money back. I'm like, the government has never given me a cent back. I don't even know what you're talking about. Every year I just owe a shit ton. And I don't know why. And I don't make half as much money as fucking 90% of this fucking country does. But I just know that I have to pay the government. I don't know why. I don't know how. And I don't know how to do it. Now I've heard that taxes is starting to get into the mix. You know, the closest thing that we had to content creation and creativity was fucking comtech class. Like you're either learning theater, art, which is like painting and charcoal drawings, or the odd improv class. That's it. There's nothing else, you know? Now my old high school, St. Teresa of Lisieux, represent ST what? STL. They have a nice, you know, green screen, what do they call it? Like a 3-camera angled green screen room for like broadcasting and shit like that. Beautiful. A step in the right fucking direction. Every kid has a phone in their pocket. We're in the information age, data's everywhere. But you know, why don't we learn about the War of 1812? Because you give a shit. It's like I've never seen a bigger waste of time than teaching kids about the War of 1812. Am I an asshole? Like, am I the only one that sits here and thinks that history doesn't fucking matter that much? You know what I mean? It's good to know a little bit about it to be like, okay, yeah, fucked up shit happened for sure. But like, the only way we're going to progress is to not really care too much about it because we know the route we should go now. So let's just keep going that way. The curriculum should be fucking updated every 4 years. Okay? Not every 25 years. I don't even know if they've done it recently. My wife works for a high school. Every day I sit with her. I'm like, you need to work for the board and you need to change the curriculum. She's like, buddy, who do you think I am? I'm like, the fucking, I don't know, the Rosa Parks of the school board. I don't fucking know. The freedom riders, you need to do something. You need to change the game because doing this shit makes me sick. And if you want your kid to have a different path, you have to fucking pay out the nose, bro. Homeschool has never been a more Google topic than ever before of parents. It's insane. I swear to God, it's like 70% of the population wants to homeschool their kid. Everyone asks my wife to be like a stay-at-home teacher and teach like all these children, which is not what I think should happen. But, you know, the only method that I agree with is the Montessori method because it's one-on-one. It's like you're going to progress as you can. So you're not moving forward until you fucking get it. In this particular subject, we're going to gauge your interests and we're going to guide you towards that and just fucking, you know, like when you just hone in on the skills that you have and like you really guide them to be successful in where they excel in. That's the word I was looking for, excel. Focused efforts. Hashtag focused efforts. That's what pisses me off. Montessori is the way to go. It's espresso time, baby. Let's go. Woo! Guys, I got a lot of shows coming up. Thank you, sir. Got a lot of shows coming up. Uno momento, signori. Got a lot of shows coming up for the third time here. March 2025, Canada-wide, US-wide. Tickets will be everywhere. Follow, go on my my link tree on Instagram at not Marc Anthony, and you can get yourself a nice, beautiful subscription to my email newsletter where you will get early access to everything, or just wait for me to just constantly promote the shit out of it, and you will see it. Along with espresso time, we're going to do a little sweat break. This is where I dab my forehead. Oh, buddy. Buddy, I'm drenched. That's going to be my next podcast. Buddy, I'm drenched. Insertburps.com. You know what my favorite part about school was? I think just fucking around. You know, I was never a good student, and I think it started really early in elementary school where they like borderline started to think that I was like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, one of the special kids. And only because I couldn't focus for very long on shit because my ADD was through the roof and I refused to be a pill taker kid. So, you know, they would just always be like, you're disruptive, you're laughing, you're cracking jokes.
Somebody's got a little extra energy from Fizz Head, right? Yeah.
I'm like, buddy, I have, just because I'm in grade 4 and I've got the timing of fucking Robin Williams, go fuck yourself. Like, it pisses me off because I know the mentality I was at back in the day, and it's not like I was fucking stupid and there was skills that could have been fostered, but it was always like, we need to send you down to guidance to have a chat. And then it's like, I'm in a room with like a lady who read a psychology book on how to deal with delinquent children. And she's like, are you angry at home? And I'm like, I don't know. I want to punch you in the head because I was just laughing my ass off in class with my friends. And now I'm over here and you're telling me if I can match the colors and showing me a picture. Like, what image do you see? I'm like, but what, dude, what am I, Clockwork Orange? What are you doing? You know? And it bothers me that that's what happens to a lot of students where they just get like, oh, you're not able to read a textbook that's black and white and thicker than my knob for 4 hours. You're not able to stay awake during the 15th fucking thousand Anne Frank book that we're reading. You can't, you know, stay awake during The Outsiders. So you know what? You're a moron. Go down to the office, talk to the lady in guidance who's going to guide you to being a plumber. Like, what is that bullshit, man? That's fucking stupid. When, you know, we need plumbers. So why is that frowned upon? You know what I mean? I don't understand. And I used this time in high school, more so high school than anything, to like really just be hilarious and be a class clown. That was the only thing that worked in my favor, like making people laugh. And even teachers, like the only way teachers would like me is if they were laughing. If I could get a teacher to laugh, they're like, no, this kid's actually funny and he's not an idiot. He's a nice kid, blah, blah, blah. Like I had to find my way to stay in class by being the class clown and fucking around, like, and knowing where the line was. You know what I mean? It's like, this is how I know that school wasn't for me. In grade 10, I made the high school basketball team. All right. Grade 9, I didn't. The talent was too good. And that's just what it was. Loved basketball, played my whole life. I was a little too thick. If I lost weight, I'd be dunking, but whatever. Grade 10, I made the junior basketball team. Was I a good player? No. You know, my best day ever, I had a double-double against some fucking team that I can't remember. What was the team? Against Markham. Fuck you, Markham. Just bodying kids. You know, my boy Antoine had a triple-double. It was the only time we played together. It was great. We were bench players at that time. Was Antoine a bench player? He wasn't. We're going to call Antoine. He was a bench player. Antoine was a bench player. So, and me and Antoine would be on the bench, always fucking around, having fun, this and that. The next year, I didn't make the senior team in grade 11. By the way, I didn't make the team in grade 12 either, right? But guess what? I was on the team every year as what? Team manager. They made a role for me to just be there. You know what I mean? That's where my role was. They were like, you know what? This kid's hilarious. He's kind of like Rudy and Chris Farley at the same time. So we're going to keep him here. And they're like, hey, we're going to Syracuse to get blown out by teams in the US. You know what we need? That fat kid who won't shut the fuck up on the bus, just making fun of people and keeping things light and fun. That was my job. I was the heart kid. I was the like keep people laughing kid. It didn't help that in high school I was on the fucking short bus. It's because it was a small area. You know what I mean? There was only like 10 of us in this one little neighborhood, and they were like it's one trip, you know, but it was the short bus. There wasn't a single special kid on the short bus. You know what I mean? How are you supposed to feel like you're progressing in education when you're on the short bus and every day in guidance, they're like, I think you want to go to Seneca. I think Seneca's for you. They have a program there where you play with Play-Doh. I think you need to go there. It's like, fuck you, dude. No wonder I don't like school, you know? Not once did anybody in school go, you know what? Like there was always teachers that really liked me and would they knew that it wasn't for me, but they would still keep me in their class and be like, okay, we know, like, just whatever, Mark, just don't fucking fill it out, you know? And they would tell me like, hey man, school's not for you, but you can do something else, which is great. There's like maybe 4 or 5 I can count on one hand, and I still keep in touch with them to this day. They're incredible people, and those are the teachers we need. But then there's some teachers who are like, you might be the dumbest individual I've ever met. And I was like, because I don't know what a molecule is. Let me tell you something in chemistry. This is my worst moment in my life. I dropped out of grade 11 chemistry. What was I doing taking that course? I was in Mexico on Christmas vacation. My dad went to an internet cafe and did my course selection and put me in chemistry. It was crazy. So I go in first day class of chemistry, and I don't understand anything. Fast forward, we get our midterm marks. I'm at a 49%. The teacher then is like explaining, you know how they draw a molecule and they show you the branches and all this bullshit and the atoms or whatever. I don't even know if I'm saying that correctly, but whatever. But I'm like, what does this mean? He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, is that, you know, magnesium or whatever on the periodic table under a microscope, and that's like, you know, on a molecular level, when you zoom in, that's what it looks like that's the connect. He's like, are you just realizing this now? And I was like,
you skipped, clowned around, or otherwise jerked off through every lecture I ever gave. As far as I'm concerned, your chemistry education is over.
Oh, okay. Be a dick about it.
When the fuck did anybody say that? He's like, I thought it was understood. And I'm like, this isn't for me, bro. I'm fucking out of here. This is a disaster. You want to know my favorite school moment? Me and the center of the basketball team, Jonathan Finley, went to Old Country Buffet in Syracuse, and we had a plate-for-plate match. That's what I remember from high school. When the two basketball coaches, Mr. Stewart and Mr. Tonin, were betting on who was going to eat more plates at this fucking Old Country Buffet. That was the first time, this is when I knew when the US was a little bit more obese, when they had a chocolate milk dispenser in the drink option. I was like, are you out of, and that was the first time I knew that I found out that the US has different types of iced teas, and you can get like peach, unsweetened, sweet, and this and that. Dude, I maybe had 3 liters of chocolate milk alone. I should have been doing fucking glass for glass with this fucking kid. Anyways, I lost that 12-10. So 12 plates to 10 plates, you know? So that was my favorite moment, is like going on these trips, meeting friends, and I still keep up with all these people to this day. I just don't understand. Like I look at the future of school, and when I take my kid and like look at where the options are, it's like, if you want your kid to be educated properly, or like you want to foster the best situation for them to be the best and most educated version that they could be for themselves, you have to pay out the ass. And I don't understand why why everyone doesn't have access to just doing that. Why isn't everybody on the Montessori method? If we know that that is what works the best and what brings the best out of kids, why aren't we just doing that for everybody? No one knows. I don't fucking know. Like, why is that not the case? You know how much I feel like I'd be so much further ahead of my career if I was in that Montessori program like my whole life. If you had private school, Montessori, you know, classrooms for people, your whole career, you'd be fucking so much further ahead, because they're trying to make you smart, whereas in school, they're not. And when I look back on everybody at my high school that is actually doing shit right now, athletes, fucking all of them are in non-academic fields that are doing like big things. I mean, there's a few like neurosurgeons and shit. But you know what I mean? That's what school's for those guys, and good for them. But I know more guys that are fucking overdosing and doing fucking crack and doing dumb shit because high school fucked them up. And it would kill me as a parent for my kid to have like so much, like, you know, you see your children, you're like, they're so happy. They're just so joyful. They have this wonderful outlook on life. And then one fucking teacher, one guidance counselor, and one principal says that they're fucking stupid. And then they've lost their lust for life. They've lost their confidence, and it's fucking bullshit. I'm lucky that I had a mother who like literally told my principal that she will fuck him in the ass with a steel penis. This is a real story. One time, my mom was getting locked out of the principal's office, and she wedged her foot in and fucking body checked this guy and launched him over his desk and said, "You've never been fucked by a bitch like me."
Catherine, you're better than this.
Fuck you, Jill. You're a horrible fucking woman.
That's just true words from my mother's mouth. Isn't that crazy? Like, so I'm happy that my mom always was fighting for me because they would always be like, "Oh, send him home. He doesn't want to be here." She was like, "No, then you're going to pay for his homeschooling. So fuck you. He's staying there." You know, always trying to get teachers to be like, "He's not a bad kid. He's not a moron. He just doesn't like doing this shit. Get him doing something that he wants to do," and so on and so forth. And again, there was a lot of trial and error. My mom would switch me out of classes and try and find teachers that I would gel with. Half the time, dude, in high school, I'd leave my class and go to another classroom and just hang out with my buddies in their class. And the teacher was like, "Yo, this is fucking sick." I'll never forget one time my principal called my dad into the office. The first and only time my father went to school. Craziest situation in my entire life. My dad comes to get me at 10:30 out of my classroom. I only hear him in the halls. "Mark, where are you? Mark." Like, my dad's going through the halls. He's wearing a fucking suit, right? Like I said, think about, he looks like me, but wears a suit and is a nerd and went to Waterloo. All right. That's what my dad looks like. So he's going through the second floor at 10:30. "Mark, where are you, buddy?" I come out. I'm like, "What's going on?" He's like, "Where the fuck is your principal?" I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "I had an appointment with your principal," who had a glass eye at the time. So he called him fucking googly eyes. He's like, "I had a fucking appointment with googly eyes over here at 8 a.m. Where is this guy?" I'm like, "I don't know." He's like, "This guy's, my dad's fucking marching up and down the halls, losing it, being like, 'You fucking teachers, you guys make dog shit and you're fucking wasting my fucking time. I'm making six figures. I got to keep my house afloat. I'm missing a meeting that could fucking change my fucking mortgage rates,' or whatever the fuck, you know?" And he's losing his shit. Sits down with my principal and brings me into the office and goes, "Mark, I want you to listen to this discussion." And the principal was like, "No, it's okay. Like, Mr. Sinagoga, I'm sorry. Like, I had to deal with something." He's like, "Oh, what? You found a kid smoking weed in the parking lot?" He's like, "Sit the fuck down." He's like, "Never waste my time again." He's like, "Because all you do is waste these kids' fucking time." And went on this monologue. And guess what happened? I got suspended. So I got suspended because my dad chewed out my principal. I also got suspended because my mom chewed out my principal because I got high once in class. This kid was we were in the portables, and this kid would come like from portable to portable through the window and give you a pipe, and like you would just hit it and blow it out. His name was JP. Hilarious. And I would hit it from JP and like just blow it out the window when the teacher's back was turned. And they caught me, and I was high as shit. And those are the days where like you're carrying around Visine and shit. This is when weed was illegal, kids. You know, I mean, it's legal now, but you know, it's not at the store. So, you know, Visining it up. I'm high as shit. I'm laughing my ass off. I get sent to the principal's office. They call my mom. The principal calls my mom, Mr. Delacorte. This guy's hilarious. The pizza man. We used to call him the pizza man. So Mr. Delacorte, the pizza man, calls my mother and goes, we used to call him Della the Hut. Fucking brutal. I'm sorry we used to call you that, sir. You're a good guy. So we have the same chiropractor now. It's hilarious. So we both were orthotics. We're both big guys. What do you want? So Della the Hut calls my mom. And he's like, "Mrs. Sinagoga, like your son's high." She's like, "Hey, Mr. Delacorte, do you mind shutting the door?" And he's like, "Sure." He shuts the door. And she's like, "Open the blinds." And he's like, "Excuse me?" She's like, "Open the blinds." And then he opens the blinds of his fucking office. And my mom is right there, being like through the window, being like, "Send him back to class. You're wasting our tax dollars, you lazy fuck." And he's like, you can go back to class. I went back to class. Went around, got McDonald's for my mom, and went to class. High as shit. Everyone's listening to this being like, Mark, school's not the problem. I think your mom and dad are the problem. But it's crazy though. Like I'm always in the office just because I am a fucking idiot, apparently. You know? I don't know. I'm not a huge fucking fan. I ended up finding was my dad's plan. After high school, my dad's like, this is what you got to do. We're going to send you to Seneca because it's the only place you got in. You're going to go to Seneca. Seneca has this joint program. So it's like Seneca York. And like you do 3 years, but it's like you did 4 years of a liberal arts program. And like you get the university degree because that's what you need. You just need a fucking piece of paper for university, right? And then you can do whatever you want from there. He's like, the fact that it's liberal arts, you're my first son and you have an arts degree, he's like, makes me sick to my stomach. But just do it. So I'm in fucking first year at Seneca. My favorite course that I crushed, I got 90%, philosophy, made my dad even more upset. He's like, you know what pisses me off? You just come home, but what about this? And what about that? And what are your thoughts on this? And it might not be wrong, but think about it a little harder. He's like, fuck you. There's no definitive answer. It's bullshit. It could be green. It could be red. It could be left. It could be right. But what is it really? Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. Like my dad used to hate philosophy, but I would crush it because it's all about, existential thought processes and like really thinking about all angles. You know what else is like that? Fucking comedy. So then I'm just constantly writing down funny ideas and funny scripts in my notepad in every other class, like fucking history and all this. What's that? So not sociology. What's that main thing? Humanities. In humanities course, fucking lecture hall, 300 people. Fuck, you think I was paying attention to that? 300 kids? Absolutely not. When I was doing homeroom, 30 people, Mr. Spigarelli's geography class, couldn't pay attention there. The guy's showing us his fucking bike. Like, this is what kills me. Like, teachers are like, let me tell you about me. Fuck you, dude. Like, tell me about what I need to do, Outside of fucking do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Rage Against the Machine, buddy. That's the whole fucking thing right there. So anyways, I'm writing down funny shit. And my buddy Bolin he comes up to me because my dad goes, listen, this is where we got to a halt. I was like, I'm not doing this shit. I'm dropping out. I'm not having fun here. And I remember like slowly starting to have an interest in comedy. I was like, I'm writing down funny ideas. I've been this class clown for so long. I think I should do something like that. He's like, well, what did Mike Myers do? He's like, well, he went to Second City and then from there he went to SNL and so on. What did Jim Carrey do? Same thing. So I'm like, okay, what if I go to Second City? He's like, you're not leaving school until you get a sheet of paper. Same day, like we get in this big blowout. Like it was a fist fight. Me and my dad was crazy. I won, sent him to the hospital. Fucking right. I shouldn't be proud of that. But anyways, it's a true story. So he's like, I don't care what you do as long as you get a fucking sheet of paper, right? My buddy Bolin, I swear to God, same day, serendipitous shit. He goes, hey man, I just saw an ad on the subway that says Humber College Comedy Writing and Performance Program. Do you think you're funny? He's like, you should apply to it. So I show my dad. I'm like, how's this? Does this work? Turns out one of the guest speakers was Mike Myers one time, Russell Peters, all this shit, right? So my dad's like, do you graduate with a fucking piece of paper? I'm like, yes, I do. Certificate, diploma? I was like, fucking diploma. He's like, beautiful. Do that. That was our common ground. I auditioned, I got in, and ever since then, my whole family was like, Mark graduated from clown college. Mark graduated from clown school. Did you get your fucking red nose? You get a red nose. Clown. Oh, you do. Yeah. You get a red nose. It's fucked up. You don't get a red nose. You do clowning. Clowning is one of the courses. Let me tell you guys right now. Anybody who thinks clowning is easy, clowning outside of chemistry is one of the hardest things I've ever done in my entire life. Clowning is absolutely insane. I challenge anybody on the planet, go take a clowning workshop and you tell me if you can get that shit done. Absolutely insane. You need to create a whole nother identity in your brain. And you commit, when you put the nose on, that's it. You take the nose off, you cannot change until the nose and makeup is off. And the nose is the last thing to come off. It's crazy, dude. Clowns take clowning to a whole new level. It's crazy. Anyways, I think I need a water break. I think all the parents, we should, see, here's the problem. I'm trying to sit here and think about like what parents should do outside of try to get funding to put them in a Montessori program. But it's to listen to your fucking kids. Notice that your kids aren't gravitating towards certain things. Don't push them into a lane that you want them to go in. Expose them to as much as possible so that they know the options, right? Put them in fucking every sport, put them in every, expose them to all the musical instruments and all this kind of stuff. Like, I played drums and I am a comedian. I didn't take music. I didn't take improv. I didn't take a fucking theater. None of that shit. I took science like a moron. So now I know about leverage. That's just great. So I can leverage a fucking hot dog bun, and toss it in my mouth. Anyways, that was probably the worst joke of the entire season of this podcast right there. Leverage a hot dog bun? Stupid. Anyways, I think that is probably what you guys should do. And I don't know what's going to happen because more and more times they're shoehorning and Einhorn. Do you guys get that? You don't get that reference? Finkel and Einhorn? Anyways, I think that today they're kind of shoehorning a lot more topics into schools and bypassing the line for what should be into the fucking curriculum and what isn't. So you're seeing a lot of nonsense get in, teaching young children about they can identify as whatever the fuck they want when they don't even know how to spell their name. Is that right? No, it's not. Am I hating on a particular group? Absolutely not. I'm not saying, people shouldn't be able to be aware of this. But when kids can't spell their name and they just go, I like that Spider-Man backpack. Does that mean I'm a boy too? And then there's some guy in a dress going, uh-huh. No, man. They don't know how to spell their name. They don't know anything more than they got a pink backpack because their old school grandparents got them one. And I know you're sitting there going, well, that's the problem right there. Well, it's going to take a while to dismantle colors and gender association and all this kind of shit. And I'm just saying it should be according to the fucking brain development, right? In high school, brain, suicide, all these things. Like, I can't remember this fucking stat. I know I just said suicide out of nowhere, but there's a reason for that. It's because they say people in high school are all more susceptible to suicide for a particular reason that I can't fucking remember now, and that's just brutal. But it's because of how underdeveloped the brain is at that time. And it's like you're 18 years old, you don't know what you want to do with your life, and you have all this pressure to do this shit and to be somebody or be anything or live up to your family name or live up to your parents or live up to anything and any expectation. So when you're bombarding kids with all that shit and you're just telling them, hey, what do you want to be? While you're thinking about that, World War II, it's like, dude, it doesn't fucking matter. And it makes no sense what we teach kids with what they're actually going through mentally at the time. And you wonder why kids are getting baked in the fucking park for 12 hours. Like, what do you think, bro? Makes no fucking sense. Anyways, you tell me what you would do. What's the answer? Is the curriculum outdated? I think so. Should the whole world be on a Montessori method? Is there a new method out there that's better? It's just like the fucking healthcare system, you know? It's like they want you to be sick. They want you to be dumb. They make more money off us like that. So we, as the people, need to break the mold. All right? So do yourself a favor. The only way you can look good at school is by getting a one bone. Go to onebone.com/I'm done. The code is FT-I'm done. You get a free tote. You get a fucking free one bone on me, baby. Let's go. I'm done with school. And I really hope that school gets better because, you need smart people. But I don't even know if school teaches you anything outside of what time lunch is. Stupid. What time the fucking bus leaves. That's it. Thank you guys so much for listening. I've been Marc Anthony Sinagoga, and this is Buddy, I'm Done.